What's Crack-A-LAckin? Welcome in to My Mind is a Weapon Fantasy Football Show.
Welcome into the episode of My Mind is a Weapon Fantasy Football Podcast. I am your host, Sleaze. Today, we're going to be diving into an early look at the Week 12 waiver wire. And goddamn, we've got so many injuries that just keep happening. And honestly, if you are running back needy, it has been a blessing heading into the waiver wire that we're going to look at here. And because there's so many injuries and so many opportunities here, I usually do 10. We are going to dive into 15 players this time. And I'm also going to add super flex value for your dynasty leagues or however your leagues are set up, because there's a lot of quarterback injuries now. So before we dive into it, guys, make sure you tap that like and subscribe. All the support's appreciated. Turn that bell on, ding, 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 so you know when I'm live, so you know when the content drops. I will also be dropping my stashes next. I'll start into my smash starts this week. I'm going to be pumping content this week because I missed a lot for you guys last week with the family here. And if you guys haven't checked out the guys FF or drafters.com, both those links are pinned in the description and at the top of the video. You can talk fantasy football with us 24/7 off stream. Now let's dive into the waiver wire pickups you should be making here in week 12. And I will also give you the fab I would use and the waiver order as well, guys. Now, before we dive into it, guys, remember all these players are owned in under 50% of leagues as well, and that needs to change right now. And we are going to start off with number 1, Jacoby Brissett of the freaking Arizona Cardinals, who's only owned in 32% of leagues, which is bonkers when he's had 5 straight games over 20-plus points. First, my San Francisco 49ers in a loss. Bang, bang, Niner gang. It's good to see Purdy back and everybody back. He broke the NFL record, which is crazy, for completions at 47, 452 passing yards, and 25.8 points. Now, when you look at all these stats, remember, he only started here in week 6, so looking at his numbers is, going to be a lot different here. So 213 attempts, 142 completions, 1,517 yards. That's phenomenal. 66.7. That's top 15 completion percentage. 10 touchdowns, 3 picks. Very good numbers there. 21 rushing attempts for 80 yards. He's also put one down on the ground. 17 deep balls, QBR 41.1, and is 109.8 points. Now, if you guys average this out and you did like he played since week 1, he would be a top 5 to 7 quarterback right now, which is absolutely bonkers. And then you got to look at the matchups coming ahead, right? You're going to get the Jacksonville Jaguars at home. Yes, the Jaguars just stymied Justin Herbert, and I couldn't believe that performance. Then you're going to get Tampa Bay, who's a run-heavy stopping team. We know the Cardinals have no run game. DeMarcado got hurt last week as well. They should get Trey Benson back. That's what we've been waiting for. But still, and Marvin Harrison with the appendectomy, we don't know what's going to happen with him either. And Trey McBride has just become the tight end 1 with Jacoby Brissett. So if you're looking for the waiver wire, and we are going to cover Superflex as well. If he's available in your Superflex, spend it all. Kyler Murray's not coming back this year, in my opinion, even if they update that he is. And if you're in redraft, I would probably go waiver order 5 to 7 here, because quarterback's value is not the same in a redraft, especially in single quarterbacks. But still, he's probably going to give you 20 points a game for the next 2 games as well. Quarterback number 2, super flex possibility as well. Remember, guys, we're covering every single basis here, and it's going to be Shedeur Sanders of the Cleveland Browns. Now, I know he's getting a lot of shit for his performance, and he did. He was thrown to the wolves with Dylan Gabriel getting a concussion. You're in a division matchup versus the Baltimore Ravens, whose defense has gotten way better over the weeks. Everyone needs to pump the brakes a little bit on a freaking halftime plug-and-play starting quarterback that went in. And I know, like, it's because all the hype and his dad and everything around the Colorado background and everything they did. I get all that. But still, you can't just be blasting this guy for a halftime performance against a playoff team in the Ravens that are bouncing back. And come on, that's just too much. And then you saw his press game conference after, and he's like, dude, you guys don't even support Dylan Gabriel out there. Like, he's a class act, and I'm going to like him as a pickup this week, even with the bad stats that he had, right? He went in 25 completion rate percentage, 4 for 16, 47 yards, threw a terrible pick as well. But he gave you some rushing upside at 3 attempts for 16 yards. And then you got to look at it like this. So, and this is the most accurate passer in, I think, NCAA history last year, like 72%, if I remember, like 72.8. I don't remember what it was, but you also got to look at it like this. You're going to get the Las Vegas Raiders and the San Francisco 49ers. And the Las Vegas Raiders, their season's over. They've been playing a little better defense, here and there versus the quarterback, but they're still middle of the pack. You're still going to have Judkins with a big game here. You're still going to have Njoku Fannin, Jerry Jeudy, Cedric Tillman look good. Isaiah Bond, going to get some more work here and there too. He gives you rushing upside. I know it's not a sexy redraft start, but Superflex, if I'm down injuries that are happening like crazy, dude, I'm spending 50% here. They could say Dylan Gabriel's going to be the starter, but if Shadur Sanders comes out and balls out and beats the Las Vegas Raiders here, this job is his to keep for the rest of the season, in my opinion. We've seen enough of Dylan Gabriel. It hasn't been good there. So redraft-wise, I wouldn't do too much. I'd probably go waiver wire 10 to 12 range. But again, Superflex, and I need a start, and I'm in a must-win. I'm smashing Shadur Sanders. He's already been named the starter for Week 12 as well. Quarterback number 3 is going to be Mason Rudolph, who came in for relief for Aaron Rodgers, who looks to have a broken bone in his left wrist. We're waiting for MRI updates. It's not his throwing hand, so I don't really know how this injury is going to play out, but I would assume they're at least going to miss 1 or 2 games here, right? You're going to get the Chicago Bears and the Buffalo Bills, and the Steelers got that big win that they needed to get, a 2 games over 500 to give them a little leeway with the Aaron Rodgers injury if they need to, right? So when you look at Mason Rudolph, and he's been a serviceable backup for years. Like, he's come in before and he's dropped 20-point games over his career, year in, year out, 2023, 2020. He even had a 30-point game in 2023. So when you look at these numbers, remember, this is in relief versus the Bengals defense. The Bengals defense is very bad. We all know that. So 18 pass attempts on the season, 14 completions, 139 passing yards, which he did. He came in relief in week 2 in a blowout game there and had like 12 yards passing. But he had 127. And dude, if you look at his completion percentage, obviously it's a very small sample size. 77%, that'd be number 1 in the NFL. Obviously, it's not going to be like that if he's out there for a full couple games. 1 touchdown, 0 picks, 4 rushing attempts. I mean, he had 1 rushing attempt for negative 1 yards in that game as well. And then he had 3 rushing attempts back in week 2 also. So not bad there. 0 rushing TDs. Deep balls, didn't throw any, didn't need to. It was a game where it wasn't needed. 24.6 QBR in that game and 9.46 points he put up. I think it was like 10.98, and then he had, I forget what it is, but it's low scoring, right? So I think it was 9.46 actually. Now, what you have to look at here, when you're going ahead here, you're about to get the Chicago Bears. Yes, the Chicago Bears just locked up J.J. McCarthy, but that guy doesn't look like he knows how to play quarterback at all right now. It looks very, very bad in Minnesota, even though he had that game-winning drive because the defense kept him in the game. Then you're going to get Buffalo, tough matchup. There could be Aaron Rodgers back there. So if you're looking for a 1-week spot start, say it's Superflex, and again, we don't know the Aaron Rodgers injury. It could be worse than what I'm saying. I'm going to say like 2 to 3 weeks maybe with him. Could be longer. We don't know that yet. So when you get the Chicago Bears, yeah, they could get Jalen Johnson, their star cornerback, which would help them. Still, Mason Rudolph can be a serviceable super flex play for probably 12 to 15 points with touchdown upside. You got DK Metcalf out there still. He can even rip the deep bombs to Calvin Austin. He does not have a small arm. This man has been in the league. He knows, he's been a journeyman. He knows every single team pretty much. He's almost played every single team. So he's a very serviceable backup that if I'm in a super flex, probably if I need a must win, I need a quarterback, I'm probably spending a lot, like 30, 50%. If I don't, maybe I could use it for trade value, which is one of my things I do in Dynasty all the time. And in redraft, again, it's probably like 10 to 12 range, but we've got to cover all bases here. And this is a quarterback that is going to be available. Quarterback number 4, and here we go with the injuries, of course. Michael Penix looks like his season is done. Drake London update PCL 2 to 6 weeks is what we have right now. Not official on that, but with that Falcons loss, man, I think their season is pretty much over. Carolina Panthers, Bryce Young played lights out against them, but they would have had the New Orleans Saints and Jets next. If they could have just got that Panthers win, I think they would have been fighting, but I think that really is like the nail in the coffin for them right there. So you're going to get the New Orleans Saints next week as well. So not a bad matchup here for Kirk Cousins if you need a spot start, and he's also going to start the rest of the way. So, well, I'll get to that at the end here. And he has not looked good by any means, guys. I've tweeted this out. I've said that he's washed. I've said that it doesn't look good. And if I'm the Falcons, I'm even trying to probably, I guess they're going to throw Cousins out there for the rest of the season probably. But I'd be looking if I had like a, late round rookie quarterback or something like that on my roster, something I could pick up just to take a shot here. Like this is going to be rough. So on the season right now, 52 attempts, 32 completions, 250 passing yards, 61.5 completion percentage is not bad there. 0-0 on touchdown interceptions. You don't want to see him rushing at his 37-year-old age. Rushing TDs, that is a 0. That is a mishap there. 4 deep balls from 42, 31.4. And he has 10.4 points. He's QB 46. Now, again, we lost Drake London. He'll be down. Darnell Mooney. Maybe Kirk Cousins can find Kyle Pitts finally. Maybe get him going a little bit here down the stretch and have a good garbage time kind of end here, because I don't think the Falcons are going to be in many of these games besides these next 2 against the Saints and Jets. Then you get Seattle, Tampa, Maybe they're in the game versus Arizona than the Rams. It's going to be really, really, really rough fantasy football-wise for Kirk Cousins. But you have to look at it like this, like I was going to say. So if you're Dynasty Superflex, dude, this is a starting quarterback possibly for the next 7 weeks. That's trade value you could pick up. So I would spend 60% if I'm in that situation, if I need a quarterback. And then I could also deal him for a third or put a package together as well there for a trade. And that's my favorite thing is Dynasty. And redraft, again, probably like 9 to 12 range. Again, one single quarterback leagues, tough value here as well. But if you need a backup or a QB2 that you could hold down the stretch, we'll see how it goes. The schedule's not too bad, but again, we don't know if Drake London's going to be back as well either here. Heading over to the running backs, player number 5, and this is what I was talking about at the beginning of the video. The injuries have piled up, and they have blessed you. If you need a running back, this is 100% waiver wire grab here, especially if your season is on the line, right? So Green Bay Packers, you know that Josh Jacobs has put up like 16 out of 17 games with a touchdown. Lo and behold, Josh Jacobs goes down, and Emmanuel Wilson has his first touchdown of the year. So this is going to be an amazing pickup here. I know Marshawn Lloyd is still, waiting in the woods there on IR. That guy's untrusted, so I'm not even thinking about him. If they say he's practicing, could it be kind of a time shift? But I don't even believe that. The guy's hurt all the time. So when you look at the stats here, remember, this is limited work. He hasn't played over 50% of the snaps at all besides last week against the New York Giants. So 53 attempts, 220 yards, 4.15 yards per carry. Not bad there. Found the end zone for the first time. Again, 4 receptions, 11 yards. He can get it done in the receiving game as well. Receiving touchdowns. That is incorrect. He has 4 receptions. Let me get it right here. 11 receptions for 69 yards. That's why I messed it up there. But, not 69 touchdowns. He has 0 receiving touchdowns. Snap share 24.1%. That's on the season when he had 71% last game. That's what you're looking at. That's elite RB1 usage. Red zone touches, he's had 11. That's number 45. Not bad at all for a guy that hasn't played that much. And again, 47.9 points. He's RB53. Now, either way you slice it, and the Packers are going to be getting their wide receivers back. And Christian Watson has looked absolutely great. He looks like the wide receiver 1 again. You got Romeo Doubs, who's been banged up and in and out of games for the past couple of weeks. Jaden Reed can be coming back. Matthew Golden has done absolutely nothing this year for first-round pick, which has been atrocious. You got Tucker Kraft down. They're probably going to lean on Emmanuel Wilson. He looked good. He's probably a 20-touch running back till the Josh Jacobs return. And they've said, quote-unquote, the Jacobs season isn't over. But that tells you kind of right there that it's like a 4+ week injury, in my opinion. When they say your season's not over, like he can come back at the end, or we save him for the playoffs if we make it. It's not a good situation for Josh Jacobs owners. And if I own Josh Jacobs, I'm spending everything I have to get Emmanuel Wilson. And even if I don't, I'm spending 100% fab across the board because I think you're going to have a fantasy football playoff low-end RB2 play every single week that you can flex every single week. Player number 6, Kenneth Gainwell. And of course, I have Jaylen Warren as my ladder up bet, my smash play running back, and he looks great. And he goes for 40 freaking yards on the first freaking drive on a great run. And he gets hurt and tries to come back in the game and then gets hurt again. So we don't have the timetable update on him. This is an early waiver wire video. If you guys have any questions about it or whatever's going on, drop them into the comments. I will update it as we go here if needed for you guys, but I'm pretty sure you guys will see the update. So Jaylen Warren goes down, and again, you got to remember Kenneth Gainwell, he's in a situation where he's only played 70% of the snaps one time, which was week 4 against Minnesota, right? Where he went absolutely bonkers for 31 fantasy points. The only other time he's played over 60% of the snaps, he dropped 29.5 fantasy points. Yeah, it was against the Bengals, but the Minnesota in week 4 was very nice. So, and let's say Jaylen Warren's out 2 to 4 weeks. You're spending it all. This is time to win every single matchup. This is time to get to the fantasy football playoffs. And again, he could have a ramp up even when he comes back. So let's say he plays this week. Probably if he comes back this week, it's limited. And if I own Jaylen Warren, I'm definitely getting Kenneth Gainwell 100% as my backup because Caleb Johnson is not the guy. So looking at his stats, 61 attempts, 244 yards, 4 yards per carry, 3 touchdowns. Not bad for Kenneth Gainwell there. He's had 36 receptions, 4 touchdowns on the ground. That is wrong. So, God, I messed up all these slides. It's early morning here. 2 touchdowns for the air, 204 yards. Again, snap share 43.3. Hasn't been an RB1 usage. Target share 13.1%. That is the nice number right there. Mason Rudolph was dumping it off to him a lot. It looked great. So, red zone touches 12, 109.8 points. He is RB25. So you got to look at this schedule here. Then you're going to get the Chicago Bears, whose run D is atrocious. Buffalo, whose run D is atrocious. Baltimore, whose run D is getting better as we go. Miami, whose run D is atrocious. Detroit is a great run D you're going to get in the playoffs. And then Cleveland, which is tough as well. But the running back reception usage he gets is the golden ticket here. And that's why Kenneth Gainwell is so good in PPR formats, because that's what he does. But man, when he's got the opportunity on the ground, he's looked good as well. I mean, averaging the 4.1 yards per carry is not bad for Kenneth Gainwell. It's 5'9", 200 pounds. So again, this is a Jaylen Warren kind of situation, and that's why I like to buy Jaylen Warren everywhere, which I did, which really hurts right now because their schedule's pure gold down the stretch. But if Jaylen Warren is back this week, hopefully we get the update before the waiver wire. I don't think so. If you went back in the game and re-injured it, it's very, very rare that he's going to come back in and play the next week, but we'll see. So if I'm in win now, this is all of it. Send it all. You're getting a great matchup. You're getting a running back that can give you 15 to 20 plus points in a flex matchup. Looks great to the receiving game. And if I'm, if I own Jaylen Warren, I'm probably spending it all too as well. You have to at this point. Player number 7 is going to be Byshell Tootin. And yes, man, they did give us a running back freaking blessing this week with just the waiver wire. And when you look at this matchup, he did go down with an ankle injury. You did see him at the press conference saying his ankle was good to go on his career day. He'll be back next week. So good sign there. And you're going to get the Arizona Cardinals and the Tennessee Titans here coming up. So what you have to look at here, you got to remember that Byshell Tootin, this is his first game all year long, playing over 30% of the snaps. And he was getting the work early and out-touching ETN till the injury, which is very, very scary for ETN owners, because Byshell Tootin looked not bad at all, guys. He had, 15 attempts for 74 yards and 4.93 yards per carry. Is very, very good for him. So when you're looking at the situation, yeah, ETN popped and you've dropped 20. So if I own ETN, I'm spending all of it. I'm all of it. If he's available on my waiver wire, and the fact that he's owned under 50% leagues is crazy. And he looked like they were going to give him the job. That's how scary it looked. And then they gave ETN the Wildcat touchdown that he punched in, running over 3 people. That was a very nice run by ETN as well, too. So looking at his numbers here, 60 attempts, 238 yards on the ground. That's a 3.97 yards per carry, 3 touchdowns, 8 receptions, 61 yards to the air, and receiving, touchdown to the air. He's great to the air as well. There's your snap share right there, 23.9, very, very low in the year. Target share 3.6. There's the number, though. Red zone touches 15 for a guy that never plays 30% of the snaps. That's damn good. 61.9 RB 46. And if he starts to take over this job like it looked like he was, and the injury kind of derailed it, this is going to be a major, major pickup here. And again, if I own ETN, I'm spending it all. And even if I don't, I'm probably spending it all. This is time to get these running backs. This is time to win fantasy football. This is time to get all the depth pieces you can and possibly make trades to make moves to better your team for the playoff stretch here. And this week is just amazing with running backs. Player number 8 is going to be Chris Rodriguez Jr., one of my sleeper plays last week that was very, very nice. And look what happened, man. He literally had 15 touches for 79 yards and a reception. So 16 touches. He was the full RB1 over Ja'Cory Crosby-Merritt, over Jerry McNichols. And he actually looked good doing it. So when you're looking at these numbers, you got to look at his season here, right? He's never played over 30% of the snaps, into the 40% snap range besides this game at Miami. Yes, it is at Miami. Yes, their run D is very bad. But still, this is an option, and they're going to have a bye here. So you might be able to make a sneaky play here as well, too. So 60 attempts, 279 yards, 4.65. He's had 3 touchdowns on the ground as well. Dude, you got to look at that as well. He's had 3 touchdowns in the past 5 games, which is very, very nice. His first reception of the year came last week, 6 yards there. Snap share 22.6. Target share still 0% with 1 catch on the year. Red zone touches 13, not bad there for a guy that hasn't been playing. That right near Byshell Tootin at 15, and Tootin's played way more than him, so you got to think about that. 47.5 points, RB 54. Now, why do I say it's sneaky? Because you're going to get you're going to get a bye week here. So if your league's kind of a cupcake league, or they don't pay attention to stuff like that, he probably won't be at the top of your waiver wire on your Yahoo, on your Sleeper. He'll probably be on trend for Sleeper if you play on Sleeper. But Yahoo and ESPN, they will not, which is why you don't play on those apps, because they're trash. I hate to say that. So what I would spend on him, and it's going to be a very, very tough stretch as well. I wouldn't, go crazy, but this is a flex play that could give you 7 to 10 points with touchdown upside weekly. You're going to get Denver. You're going to get Minnesota. You're going to get the Giants. You're going to get Philly. And you're going to get Dallas at the end. And Dallas's run Ds should be better with the acquisitions they've made. So for his waiver priority, probably, 4 to 6 range, unless I'm really desperate at running back. And then Fab, I would probably use, 10 to 12%, maybe, again, 15% if I'm desperate. It's going to be a tough schedule, but he is going to give you touchdown upside. You saw the way he bully runs. So this is purely a running back desperation pickup play here because you do have a bye week, and you could probably sneak it. Remember, if your league is a cupcake league, sneak this pickup for free. Player number 9, the last running back, Sean Tucker, and everyone's going to go wild like they saw him go for 35 points. By the way, he was my sleeper play. He was my anytime touchdown lock. I told you I liked him better than Rachaad White on the show. That's why you don't miss the shows. I didn't expect 35 points, though. But he does this once a year. He freaking goes nuclear for one game once a year, and it's like teams just do not understand that he is actually a good running back. It's bonkers to me. So if you look back at last year, right? Week 6, New Orleans Saints, he went for 34 points, just like he did this year. If you look back, no, he didn't do that. Just 2024. So he's only been in the league 3 years. Sorry, his rookie year, he didn't do that. So when you're looking at Sean Tucker's stats, you got to remember he didn't even play from week 4 to 2 or week 1 to 4, 0%, one attempt in week 1. That was it. And then week 6, 20%, 23%, 10%, snap share, 34%, 32%. Never really been the guy, right? So he did this on 44% snap share last week, 35 fantasy points. It's almost the same as Christian McCaffrey, your RB1. 19 attempts for 106 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground, 2 receptions, 17 receiving yards, and a touchdown through the air, and he looks explosive. Now, people are going to blow their fab and blow their waiver order on him. Not the move here. This is just a depth piece pickup because Bucky Irving is on his way back. He practiced last week 3 times. Could Sean Tucker have earned himself a role in the rotation? Yes, but I'm assuming he's back to 20%, maybe 15% touches. So don't go crazy. Let the other people blow their waiver order, blow their fab on him. If you need a running back to, if you have Bucky, I'd probably spend a little more here, but I wouldn't spend more than, waiver order 9 to 11, fab 2 to 5% because it's not going to be the guy. This is going to be the Bucky Irving show. Rachaad White is still there. Sean Tucker is going to be there with them. Backup, split timeshare backup behind Bucky. So I'm not super excited about the Sean Tucker pickup, but other people are going to because they see 35 points and they go nuts. Let them make the high mistake on him. If he's still available for cheap, get him for cheap. Player number 10, moving over to the wide receiver side, is going to be Darnell Mooney. And man, Drake London bangs the knee in overtime, PCL sprain. Looks like could be 2 to 6 weeks is the update I'm reading right now from my guy Mueller here on Twitter. He's also, a buddy here in town as well. Not a buddy, but I mean, he lives in Fresno or same city. So when you're looking at Darnell Mooney, and it hasn't been great for Darnell Mooney, he doesn't have a single game over 10 points this year, but the opportunity is going to be there in bunches, right? Because now Drake London is down, and Kirk Cousins has looked terrible, but they're going to be playing from behind. They're going to be a pass-heavy team from here on out, in my opinion, kind of like the New Orleans Saints situation. So Darnell Mooney coming in here is going to be very, very good pickup. This is like your number 1 wide receiver you should be targeting because look at his snap share that he plays. This is wide receiver 2 numbers at wide receiver 1 elite usage. 90% in week 8, 100% in week 9, 90% in the week 10, 92% in week 11 versus the Panthers. Now, obviously, the 7 and 8 targets have been way off. He's had 15 targets in the past 2 games, only 4 receptions. It's been off. As you can see by the top there, 42 targets, 16 receptions. Like him and Penix are on the same page. Maybe Cousins changes that. 224 yards, 0 receptions. Target share 16.4, not bad there. 83.3 snap share, 88.9% route participation. Those are solid wide receiver 2 numbers. Red zone targets, obviously 5'11", 180, dripping wet. He's not a red zone guy. And then 38.4 points, which is very bad Darnell Mooney freaking season. But again, he was hurt in week 1 and then, kind of hampered week 4 and 5 with the same injury. So it's been a different look for him here. Now you're going to get the New Orleans Saints and you get the New York Jets. And we know the Jets traded away Sauce. We know the New Orleans Saints season is over. So this is a pickup. If you need a wide receiver flex play right now, again, and Drake London, the Falcons season's probably over. They're going to bring back Drake London if they're 3-10, 3-11, however it goes. Most likely not. So this is a wide receiver 1 on a team right here where you need to spend it all. This is a flex play you could probably use weekly. Again, it's going to depend on how Kirk Cousins looks, but the opportunity is too good to pass up here. I would spend it all to get Darnell Mooney as well. Player number 11, holy moly, Michael Wilson, another sleeper play of mine that you could have flexed last week. So we'll check that one off. So this guy just goes absolutely nuclear, right? I mean, you get Marvin Harrison down out of nowhere during the week with the appendicitis or appendectomy or whatever. Forget what medical term they use there. And they said it ruled him out for the week. And then my wife works in the hospital. I kind of asked, how long could the appendectomy or taking your appendicitis out or whatever it is, keep you out for? And she's like, everyone heals differently. They got surgeries today that they can bring you back in 1 to 2 weeks. So I was thinking that Marvin Harrison may be out longer with the Cardinals season pretty much being over. And, you got James Conner down, Trey Benson on IR. Who knows what they do? And I was thinking that Michael Wilson may have the entire shot to be the wide receiver one the rest of the season. After talking to my wife, I don't think that's going to happen. I think Marv could be back this week. And she's like, yeah, they could do it. And he could stretch out and his sutures, everything will be fine. And she's like, it's 2025. Come on now. So you should know this. This stuff goes way faster. And again, she's like, people heal faster, especially athletes as well. So when I look at Michael Wilson, yeah, he just went absolutely bonkers for 33.5 points. He had 18 targets, 15 interceptions, 185 yards. Again, that game was out of hand before it started, though. I mean, he broke the completion record with 47 with Jacoby Brissett because the 49ers returned a kickoff 98 yards and just scored right away. I mean, we completely dominated that game, just like I said we would. Now, waiver wire parity here. This is the weird part with him because, again, if Marv comes back, Michael Wilson hasn't done anything with Marvin Harrison Jr. out there. He hasn't had 10 points all year long with Marv out there or Trey McBride. So, if you're willing to gamble that Marv may be out one more week, you are going to get Jacksonville, which is a nice matchup, although they just absolutely shit on the Chargers passing game big time. And they put a statement on that game, which was crazy. Man, I didn't see that coming at all. I don't think anyone did. So, I was thinking that I wanted to take the gamble because I didn't think that Marv would be back. So if Marv is not back, you need a 1-game rental, maybe. If Marv is out, longer than we know, then it's money. So it's a very tough situation to be in, trying to give you guys advice here on what to do because this spot sucks. So I would probably go, 15, 20%, maybe 25% if I wanted to gamble fab wise. Waiver order, 5 to 7 range if I wanted to gamble, 3 to 5 range, see what happens with Marv here because goddamn, Jacoby Brissett is going to let it fly, and that connection looked great in one game. But again, then you look at the numbers with Marv. He hasn't even had a touchdown. He hasn't even had over 10 points with Marv out there. His most targets is 6. So all of a sudden he gets 18 in one game when he's gone. It's very, very hard to decipher what's going to happen here with Marvin Harrison Jr. and Michael Wilson. But if I own Marv, I'd probably spend more because that way I'm at least locking up the guy, behind my wide receiver one just to play it safe, I guess. Player number 12 is going to be Alec Manor, and I know he ended up questionable in the game as well, but it looks like if anyone's going to return for the Tennessee Titans, it's going to be him. And Calvin Ridley, man, down for the season. Again, first catch of the game. Just like his hamstring against the Raiders. First catch of the game, went down. Feel so bad for Calvin Ridley. Feel so bad for Cam Ward, man. This guy was just thrown to the wolves, and he's losing weapons galore. Chimera DK also went down with a concussion. He'll probably miss next week as well, which is why you're probably looking at your wide receiver one rookie, Alec Manor here, it's going to be a very tough matchup. It's not great at all, but at least you're getting a volume play that could be out there, and tons of garbage time is coming in this game because you're playing Seattle, who just got shit kicked by the Rams, and they are not happy about it at all. And Sam Darnold looked terrible in that game. So Manor hasn't been bad on the season. Look at these numbers: 59 targets, 28 receptions, 334 yards, 2 touchdowns. He hit those in week 2 and week 3, and then kind of siphoned off. 19.3% fizzled off, not siphoned off. 45 there. Snap share 81.2, not bad for your wide receiver 2-3 rookie that's out there. Route participation 81.1, not bad as well. Red zone targets 5, again, not bad there. And 73.4 points. He's wide receiver 55 on the year, and he hasn't had over 10 points besides week 2 and week 3. But now you got to look at it like, yeah, you're getting the Seahawks, and it's a very tough matchup, and you know that the Tennessee Titans offense is depleted. But this is those kind of situations that I like. If you've been a subscriber to my channel, I like garbage time teams that play from behind. I like volume, and the volume should be here for him because Ridley's season is over, because Chimera DK is going to miss, and their run game has been putrid. I mean, Tony Pollard, Tyjae Spears, not good. They need to get Tyjae Spears as the RB1 and get Tony Pollard out of there. He doesn't look good at all. And that's what I think is going to happen down the stretch as well, which is why I've been trying to acquire Tyjae Spears here and there for cheap. So if you're going waiver wire here, if you're desperate, you need to flex play your season on the line, spend, maybe more, 35%, maybe. If you're not, probably 20, 22%, because, Ridley is done. And this is your wide receiver one probably for the rest of the way here. So, waiver order, I would go 6 to 8 just because it's not sexy with the Tennessee Titans, man. I know the volume will be there, and I like volume. It's just been rough, tough sledding for Cam Ward, but still the situation couldn't be better for A.O. Manor right now. Number 13, and you guys know if you've been part of my channel for the past couple years, man, Adonai Mitchell was always my guy coming out of Texas. I love what he put on tape there. I love what he did at the combine. I loved his RAS score, 9.99, like number 6 all-time athletic specimen, according to, all the rankings they do for at the combine, which is, I think it's like 40,000 wide receivers, and he was a top 6. That is unreal. So, yeah, he got his chance against New England. He got traded from the Colts, which is what I wanted. I wanted him to be able to get his shot, and then Garrett Wilson goes down. Now the opportunity is here in bunches. And you got to remember, this was his first week. He was there for like 10 days. And he went up against Christian Gonzalez, a superstar corner, and he toasted him with routes ran. He looked absolutely amazing. Now, I know he had the drop with the drape over the shoulder. You can't count that as a drop. The rocket across the middle that he missed, that they threw at him where he barely looked and turned at it, I'll count that one as a drop. But, guys, this was a 49% snap share. He was out there. He saw 6 targets. He's going to be the wide receiver one probably for the rest of the year. Who knows if Garrett Wilson comes back. They say they want to bring him back out there, but that'll be like week 15, 16, and he'll have to ramp up. And Adonai Mitchell will still be out there. And I firmly believe that Tyrod Taylor is going to be taking this job over to make the passing offense look better here. So when you look at all of his numbers, remember, it's his wide receiver 4 at the Colts. This is his first game ever playing, pretty much anything besides week 4 when he dropped that bomb across the end zone against the Rams. So 22 targets, 10 receptions, 162 yards, no touchdowns, 6.2% target share. Again, hasn't been playing. 23.9% snap share, route participation, 23.1. Red zone targets number 1, deep targets 6. That's phenomenal for barely playing. 24.2. That's because his separation is absolutely crazy. So I want to throw this in there as well because I tweeted this out. Week 11 against Chris Gonzalez, and he toasted route by route one of the best corners in the league. He had a 33.3% separation metric in that game, which is a top 5 performance on the year versus a superstar corner. Do not give up hope. He's going to get more chances here. So Adonai Mitchell, I love as a major pickup for a possible flex play down the stretch here. The Jets aren't going to be winning games. They aren't going to be running the football much. They're going to be behind by multiple touchdowns probably every single game here. You're going to get the Ravens, maybe the Falcons, they stay in the game. You get Miami, Jacksonville, New Orleans, New England. The matchups are going to be great here for him in the passing game, and he can beat anyone. I'm telling you, I've been watching this for years. He can beat any corner out there. His separation is unbelievable. He is a speed demon. Big body, 6'2", 205, which is why I like him so much. So, again, this is probably biased because I like him more. Waiver wire, I'm probably spending 20, 25%. And if it's waiver order, I'm probably spending 4 to 5 because I really believe that the talent is going to come through here and that you're going to get to see him get more work. This is a 49% snap share game. It's going to go up, and he already had 6 targets. Imagine if he's playing 80, 85 like wide receiver 1 usually like Garrett Wilson. He's going to start seeing 10 to 12 targets, which is exactly why I like Garrett Wilson, and that's exactly why I like Adonai Mitchell. Number 14, moving over to the tight end side, A.J. Barner. What a performance against the L.A. Rams. God damn. Like, where is Rashid Shaheed and Cooper Kupp here? Is A.J. Barner the number 2 target now behind Jackson Smith and Jigba, who's going to draw all the freaking attention? And they got a lot of weapons here, man. So A.J. Barner last week, guys, 22 fantasy points behind George Kittle. Phenomenal week. 11 targets, 10 receptions, 70 yards. Bonkers numbers for A.J. Barner. So, and he's getting all the work. He's a 90% snap share tight end. This is his job. There is no Elijah Arroyo battle. And this has got to be a pickup that you're making if you need a tight end. And I know it's not sexy, right? It's not a sexy play, but it's a play that's going to be relevant in their passing game. And maybe not against Tennessee next week, so don't spend too much because they're probably not going to need to pass them a lot against Tennessee, right? So 37 targets, 31 receptions, 306 yards, 4 touchdowns, 11.9% target share, not bad. 76.8% snap share. So I'm talking about that's tight end 2 usage, but it's gone up to 87, 84 in the past 2 games. That's what you want. Slot snaps 30. He's a true inline blocking tight end. Doesn't really go out in the slot a lot. He can, but he doesn't because you got so many weapons out there. You've got Cooper Kupp, you got Horton, you got Shaheed, you got a lot of people that are going to be manning that slot. It's not going to be a big, 6'6", 250 tight end that's out there. Red zone target 6, that's top 20, and then 92.7 points. He's tied at 18 on the year, and he just dropped 22 points this week, and he also had 27 against Tampa. So he can splash really big. He is kind of a floor safe play, 8 to 10 point play, weekly with touchdown upside. Again, you're going to get Tennessee. I don't really think it's a great pickup this week because I don't think they need a lot. But if you need a tight end 2 play, it's a very, very nice pickup. And I would spend, I guess not a lot still. It's still hard to trust. I'd say 5 to 10% fab, waiver order 8 to 12 around there because tight end, it's never really sexy. And it's probably not going to be sexy for a couple games here with it because you're going to get some tough matchups here. You get Minnesota, Atlanta, Indy, Rams, and you get Carolina, SF. That's nice down the stretch. But there's a lot of weapons here as well. So I'm not going too crazy, but it is a nice play if you need a tight end. Number 15, a little bonus snag on here. It is going to be Darren Waller of the Miami Dolphins. And the crazy part here is this is what you got to think about as well, right? So the Miami Dolphins right now, and like people wrote their season off, right? And, me included. So let's just look at this before we dive into it. And this is why Darren Waller is a bonus kind of pickup for me that I like. That especially if you have an IR spot, you should be stashing, right? So here we go. This is what you got to look at, right? So the Miami Dolphins right now, big win in Madrid, Spain in overtime, might have saved, Mike McDaniel's job and their Dolphins job altogether. They're 4-7 right now, okay? They get a bye this week, going to get healthy. Darren Waller could be back off the bye, who knows? Then they get the Saints and the Jets. Then they could be 6-7 battling for a playoff spot. It's not over for them. Then they get Pittsburgh, Cincy. Who knows how those teams are going to work out with Aaron Rodgers' injuries? Who knows if Joe Burrow comes back with the Bengals in shambles? I know Tampa Bay and New England are going to be tough week 17, week 18. But, dude, at the Patriots rate, they might not even be playing in week 18. They may have the bye locked up, and they could be playing against backup freaking quarterback there. So Darren Waller, very, very sneaky play. If you have an IR spot, I'm 100% stashing him here. I know Greg Dulcich is a guy I like as well, but it didn't really work out for him. And you got to look at the numbers that Waller had in his limited time, right? So he came in week 4, didn't play the first 3 weeks. He had 19, 21, 10 points, and he got hurt halfway through that game. And he's the only big body they have. Tyreek down. Waddle's been, I thought Waddle would smash last week versus Washington. He had a couple drops that hurt him there. Malik Washington, not over 6 foot. Taj Washington, not over 6 foot. Nick Westbrook-Ikhine is, but he's not really the guy out there. Waller's going to be your 6'6" red zone target, as you can tell by 4 touchdowns through 3 games. And this is going to be an offense that needs this big man down there. So Darren Waller is probably a sneaky ad that you can get for like waiver wire 10 to 12 or 2 to 5% fab. Very, very sneaky ad, but we also don't know if he's coming back. They say he will be. So again, it's sketchy on that front, but it's a risk I'm willing to take with the upside that he gives you in this offense, and he'll be the number 2 target on the offense over Malik Washington, in my opinion. Thanks for rocking with me today. That's the end of the waiver wire video, guys. If you guys have any questions already heading into week 12, I'm going to be pumping out content. Next is my stash, as I'm trying to get my smash starts out today as well. I'm also live tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern, going over where we were right, where we were wrong, looking at our smash calls, looking at our sleeper calls, looking at everything on the week. I like to be transparent for you guys, and then I show all my smash starts. I'll put the tweet in the videos as well so you can see them. And, man, I really didn't have a great week this week, dude. I was really high on Bo Nix. I was really high on TJ Hawkinson, and I was really high on a couple players that missed, like Justin Herbert, which was absolutely crazy to me. So we're going to go over that. We're going to cover everything. So if you guys haven't already, make sure you tap that like, hit that subscription button, turn that bell on. Helps me out a ton. And again, if you guys haven't checked out the guys FF or drafters.com, make sure you check out the sponsors, make sure you check out the Discord. All those are pinned in the comments and in the description of the video, guys. That's it for me. I hope you guys enjoy the content. I'll catch you in the next one. Sleaze Bum out.